program is proudly brought to you by Datec PNG Limited.
In tonight's session of Infocus, we examine the incredible opportunity for Papua New Guineans offered through the Australian Award Scholarships. Joining us on the show is Kenneth Woodham, Scholarships Coordinator at the Australia Award Scholarships Program. We'll uncover what sets the Australia Award Scholarships apart from other scholarships, as well as how many scholarships are available for this intake and what you need to know to make your application stand out. Mr. Kenneth Woodham, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Firstly, Kenneth, can you briefly explain what the Australian Awards Scholarship offers for the people of Papua New Guinea and what makes these scholarship awards different from other scholarships?
The Australian Awards Scholarship offers the people of Papua New Guinea a chance to study in Australia, first of all. It offers also a chance for Papua New Guineans to get quality education in areas where they expand on their knowledge and skills. And it also gives the opportunity for Papua New Guineans to experience life in Australia. The scholarship is all about building people-to-people connection, institutional connections. One of the main aims of the scholarship is to provide the opportunities for Papua New Guineans to go and upskill knowledge and skills in areas in which they have identified as a development need in the country. And so what makes these scholarships unique, being that it is one of the prestigious scholarships that are offered to Papua New Guineans right now. And also for this scholarship, the Australian Award Scholarship, it is one of the biggest that is offered to Papua New Guineans compared to other scholarships that are offered to Papua New Guineans. And so for access, it provides a greater access for Papua New Guineans to study abroad.
And they're primarily for masters and postgraduate studies.
So the scholarships for studies in Australia is for all three levels of study. We have the bachelor program. We have programs where they can apply for bachelor's degree. We also have opportunities for them to apply for masters and for a PhD studies or research masters as well. So these three levels of study areas are open for Papua New Guineans.
Now, Kenneth, how many awards are available for Papua New Guinea for this year's intake, and what study levels are being prioritized?
All right. For availability of spaces, again, that is dependent on the level of application, and the availability of spaces is determined by the Australian government. And so at this stage, we are not privy to that information. But from data that we have with us, in 2025, there were 89 spaces available. There were 89 spaces that were offered, they were offered for scholarship. And the number has shifted or increased from 89 to 102 last year. Intake 2026, those who are currently starting this year. And so in terms of availability, you can see that availability depends on how well or the level of quality of applications that are submitted. So from 89, it has increased to 102. And so for this year, again, we are not privy to that information on the availability of spaces. That will depend on the Australian government in how well our applicants perform during the application process.
Are there specific priority areas that the scholarship covers?
So in the past, there used to be priority areas for last year and this year. This year's application is open. All areas of study are open. All areas of study is open for everyone. There is no specific priority for specific areas. However, preferences will be given to key government initiatives or sectors in the space of education, health, public policy, good governance, transport and infrastructure. But generally speaking, the application is open for all Papua New Guineans, regardless of whatever sector you come from.
What are the specific requirements for individuals who wish to apply?
So for specific requirements for the Australia Awards scholarship, one of the main requirements is that if you're applying for a bachelor's degree, you must have relevant industry experience, meaning you work in that sector, and you must not have a first degree, at least at a diploma level, but working in the industry more than 3 to 5 years, and then you apply for a bachelor's degree. One of the main requirements for the master's program, you must have a first degree in place. You must meet the minimum requirements of the Australia Awards scholarship program, and that is you must not have completed a master's in Australia or anywhere else overseas. So that is one of the main requirements that we look at. And you must not have a connection with someone from Australia or a permanent residency in Australia or New Zealand. You must be a non-serving military personnel. So those from the military background, they already have a pathway for them for that. So this scholarship is purely for everyone everyone non-military. So those are some of the major requirements.
If an applicant has an existing master's obtained in Papua New Guinea?
If an applicant has an existing master's obtained in Papua New Guinea, he or she can still apply for a second master's in Australia, provided it is not along the same specialization that they've graduated from in PNG. For example, if someone has graduated with a master's in business administration from the University of PNG, they can apply for a second master's in Australia in a separate field, in a different specialization, not for another MBA in Australia. If you've graduated also with a master's here in PNG, you can also apply for a PhD as well, or a master's by research degree also in Australia.
Applications for scholarship for PhD and Masters by Research candidates. What are the expectations for research relevance to PNG, supervision arrangements, and post-study reintegration into PNG research and teaching institutions?
All right. Like I said earlier, currently area of study is open for all Papua New Guineans, again at the PhD level. That's the approach that is taken now. It is to give opportunities for all Papua New Guineans to at least try to go and study in Australia to get a higher level of qualification. And so it is currently open to all Papua New Guineans. One of the main criteria is that you must have a supervisor. You must make contact with a supervisor in the university that you want to go and study in. And that supervisor must agree to supervise your research whilst you are there. And so that is one main criteria. Another criteria is that you must have a good research proposal in place, because if you are successful in the application stage and you go to the interview stage, that is where you get to justify your research, or you get to present your research to justify why you must be offered that PhD scholarship. Whilst on this subject, we've seen generally an increase of the quality of applications submitted by PhD candidates, an increase, let's say, from 2 to 3 in the previous years to 2025, 6 being selected, to last year, to this year, 8 being selected. And so you see a gradual increase of PhD candidates applying for Australia, which shows that the people our people are generally submitting good applications. And so in terms of reintegration, based on their plans, mostly applicants are selected if they are selected from institutions, obviously they'll come back into our institutions. If I am to choose, if the program is to choose between someone from, let's say, health sector with someone teaching at Sacred Heart Teachers College, preference will be given to that one based on the level of impact that upon their return, they will be able to impact PNG through their teaching and learning, through the students who will in turn go out to impact development changes in the community, to teach and such. And so that is how they can come back, and that when based on preferences, we usually look along those lines.
Now, Kenneth, what common mistakes do applicants make when they which renders the applications unsuccessful, and how can they avoid making these mistakes?
All right. One of the main mistakes one of the cause of the mistakes would be lack of preparation. A lack of preparation. Many applicants, based on experience, because it's a scholarship, they think it's a scholarship, it's an opportunity to apply, and so they rush into the application stage without really preparing. And so one of the main common mistakes is submitting documents, documents that are required by us, or missing documents for that matter. For example, if one of the requirements is to submit a reintegration plan, they don't submit a reintegration plan, or they do it half-heartedly, meaning just not to the full expectation of the selectors. Another would be not getting the correct referees. So there are two types of referees that an applicant must gather. One is a professional referee. A professional referee is someone who knows what you do. Preferably your line manager, your supervisor. They would be aware of the development needs in your sector and in your organization as well. And they would know what you have done and some of your achievements, so they can attest to that one. That is your professional referee. And then another referee will be your academic referee. So many times, common mistakes are based around just required documents that are not submitted. And another common mistake as well is when applicants talk more about their personal, what they will gain out of the scholarship, and not connecting it with the development of this country. And so the scholarship is offering opportunities for Papua New Guineans to go, study, get the required skills and knowledge, and then how they will use that skills and knowledge to come back and contribute in the sector that they are currently working in right now. And so most times it's the alignment of how they will study, connecting it to how they will come back and utilizing those skills and knowledge. There's no clear alignment in there. And so that is one of the main, not mistakes, but one of the shortfalls that many applicants usually encounter. And so I'll give a figure from last year's application. There were around 1,102 applicants who submitted successfully, and only 460 plus were eligible. So when I say eligible, that means we've checked all the documents, all the required documents they need to submit, all the necessary forms that they need to complete. All of this they have done, and they have successfully submitted their online application. And so from 1,100 plus to 468, and then shortlisted further down to 200 plus, and then only 100 spaces are offered. Having said that, you could see those mistakes that people have done were basically not submitting the required documents, or the dates, especially for personal documents, they will need to stamp and sign by a commissioner of vote. A simple mistake like that could automatically render your application non-compliant, which will lead to ineligibility. And so for us, we are very particular with compliance, with all our requirements. If the dates are supposed to be from 1st of February till now, we are particular with such dates. And so little things like this constitutes to compliance, which in turn makes a lot of application not eligible.
In terms of inclusiveness, how does the Australian Awards approach perhaps people living in the rural areas or people living with disabilities?
All right. For inclusiveness, for our program, as soon as the applications are open, we go out to provinces. We run promotions. Promotions are currently ongoing. We have teams who are going out to the provinces. And again, we have targeted provinces whom we reach out to. For example, we started off with Arab right at the beginning of the year, and so Arab is one target province, and there are other targeted provinces that we go to run promotions so that we give an equal opportunity for our people in the provinces to apply. We also run online sessions that is open for everyone. For the provinces that we have not visited, people can register for online sessions and we present online, and they can also partake in that one. In terms of disability, we fully support people and we encourage people living with disability. At the start of the application, we always encourage people living with disability to declare their disability. Declare their disability so that not for anything, you declare their disability so that Australia Awards can provide the necessary support. From the application stage, if you are successful to the interview stage, we also provide the necessary support all the way to you going down to Australia to study. And so that is for people with disability. So for people with disability, if I may dwell a bit on this one, for them, some of the requirements for application, for example, one requirement would be that you must serve in a permanent role for 2 years, 2 years experience, work experience. For people living with disability, that requirement doesn't apply to them. It is open, they can apply. And for people living with disability as well, they can apply direct to undertake bachelor programs. One thing that I should have mentioned earlier also is that there are programs so for study in Australia, if a program, especially under the bachelor program, if a program is offered already in PNG, a program, I mean courses. So for example, law is offered at UPNG. And if I am a paralegal if I have a diploma in business management and I'm currently working under the legal system or under the law and justice sector, if I have a bachelor's degree, the tendency would be that I can apply for a law degree in Australia. Well, for the bachelor program, degree programs that are offered in Australia are only for courses that are not found in PNG. And so for popular courses like law, teaching, engineering, pilot training, accounting, business, social science fields, all of these are already offered by PNG institutions accredited by the Department of Higher Education. And so for any courses that are not found in PNG, an applicant can apply for that course in the bachelor program, provided if they have a first degree, they don't apply again. They have to apply for a master's. So the scholarship supports progressive qualification. And so for persons living with disability, all the study areas that are offered here are also open to them to apply in Australia. They can apply for study in Australia. One thing to stress here is that the selection to the scholarship is purely merit-based. Purely merit-based. So if a person living with disability, he has to go in, or he has to be given a scholarship based on merit, meaning he has submitted a good application, he has undergone interview well, and he has done all the application process well then. And also he has met the minimum eligibility requirement from the university. And so, having said that, it's not because they are disabled and we'll just give them a scholarship. They have to also earn that scholarship. But for the people living with disability, all the study areas are open for them for study in Australia.
Are there 3 optional universities that we apply to?
So for the application process, there are 2. You're supposed to have 2 preferences when you want to select universities and courses. And so the 2 preferences must not be from the same university. It must be from different universities. So when you are writing your application, you should be writing your application based on the first preference. All your answers to the questions, all your answers to the reintegration plan should be based on the first preference, first course preference. The second preference is a standby to the first one. In the event that you probably did not meet the minimum eligibility requirement for the course, then the second preference could come in. But generally, the first preference is what you prepare for. So there are two choices that you have to, for both persons living with disability and for able-bodied persons, and for all levels of study, from bachelor, master's to PhD.
Now, are there specific deadlines that the public should be aware of?
Yes, so the deadline, so the scholarships opening period or the scholarships period is from the 1st of February. 1st of February it opens and it closes on the 30th of April. And Papua New Guineans need to know this. We are not the only country that Australia is offering the scholarship, the Australia Award scholarships to. We are one of 50 other countries, 50 plus other countries who are also applying for an Australia Award scholarships. And so we all have the same opening date and the same closing date. I would like to encourage Papua New Guineans to start early. We are already at the end of February, so we practically have 2 more months to complete our applications. And so experience has taught us that many times applicants leave it to the last minute to submit their applications. And many times people in their haste to submit, they forget some documents, some requirements are not met, or they do not submit a good application. And so from the 50 countries, we are also submitting to one system only. And so if you are from an IT background, you would appreciate the volume of data coming into one system. And so every year when we come to the end of the application period, we experience a lot of challenges, especially the system becomes very, very slow to submit. And so applicants, we will get calls, emails telling us, I'm trying to submit, but I'm having difficulty. It is simply because you have people from 50 other countries submitting to the same system along with Papua New Guineans. And so for the dates, opening 1st February, closing 30th of April for all study areas, that is for bachelor, master's, and PhD studies, we would encourage Papua New Guineans to at least submit a week or 2 or a month before the closing date.
Now, Kenneth, what is your final call for Papua New Guineans who may aspire to apply for the scholarship?
I'd like to leave this message to fellow Papua New Guineans here. This scholarship is a life-transforming opportunity for you personally, for your family, and for the nation as well. Another call is that if you intend to apply, you have to be prepared. You have to be serious. Please go into our website, seek information online about Australia Awards, country-specific Papua New Guinea. Learn more about what the scholarship is about, the benefits of the scholarship. And because in the event that you want to apply, you have to be really, really, really prepared. Really prepared, because there's a lot of work put into this application. If you are someone who is working, you'll have to juggle between your work, your family time, your personal time. You'll have to make time for the application. And to put things into perspective, last year we've had 3,000 plus applicants who have not completed the application. And so when I talk about preparation, that figure alone shows us that there were a lot of people who have not been fully prepared to apply, or they were not able to collect all required information and all supporting documents in time. And so my call would be to really, really prepare. If you know you want to apply, you should be prepared for the application. It's not something that you take lightly. You wait till April and you want to apply. Start applying now. Start working on your application, start talking to your referees, and start working on your supervisor if you are applying for a PhD.
Mr. Kenneth Woonum, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Well, viewers, that ends this episode of Infocus. Do join us again next week, Monday, on our regular time slot of 7 p.m. Till then, good night.
This program was proudly brought to you by Daytech PNG Limited.